My fiance, 26 female, suggested an open relationship. I, 26 male, do not want that in a relationship. I feel like our relationship is coming to an end. My brain is scattered in a bunch of different directions, and I feel like there is a lot for me to talk about. I'll try and organize everything as best as I possibly can. I am going to dump a lot of my thoughts here, mainly as I haven't been able to talk to anyone about them. My fiance, 26 female, and I, 26 male, have been together for almost 4 years now. We have a 2.5-year-old at home, and I'm blessed that my fiance is a stay-at-home mom. Early in our relationship, I was working towards starting a business and leaving my well-paying job, all of which happened after the love and support from my partner. Since then, I made a lot of sacrifices in my life to make the business successful and to also be a good father. I completely gave up my hobbies, mountain biking, boating, fishing, gaming, guitar, etc., and also any friends to make this happen. We have had a lot of ups and downs in our relationship like any other. I have always struggled with anxiety and communication issues while she struggled with anxiety and depression. This relationship was the first one I was actually emotionally immersed, not some fling, in. And I felt like I had, and still have, a lot to learn about how to effectively communicate. There was a time 3 to 4 months in where I made a flirty comment to someone via Snapchat and she found out by going through my phone. This resulted in an intense argument and ended with her throwing my phone across the room in rage and destroying it. I was completely wrong for what I did and really regret it. I am a good/faithful man and would never consider cheating. Well, we have had several arguments since then about various unrelated topics, some of which have led to physical abuse against me. She laid hands on me 5 times, and it eventually got to a point to where the last time it happened, 10 months ago, it actually hurt. This is where I began to actually realize how my poor communication is hurting our relationship. I am not excusing this behavior in any way, and we sat down and had a long talk about our feelings and what had happened. It really came down to her having a very tough childhood with physically abusive parents, family members, and I think that even though she knows it's wrong, it's been programmed into her. Communicating really helped here, and I feel as if we are really making progress. Early on in our relationship, my fiance shared that she was interested in women as well, and always has been since she could remember. I was the first person she has ever told this, as her family is pretty religious and any type of homosexuality wasn't allowed in their household. 4 to 5 months ago, we started talking about this again, and she really wanted to come out publicly. Who am I to deny her something that she wanted to do since she was little? I fully supported her, and she made a Facebook post basically saying she was queer and nothing is changing except the fact that you now know. She assured me that nothing is changing about our relationship. Soon after, while we were being intimate, she started saying things like, "I want you to screw another girl," etc. Lots of dirty talk along those lines. I played along as it was hot and fun, and it's between me and her. Later, there were conversations about possibly having an open relationship, and we talked about it a bit and ended up coming to an agreement that we would get an app and possibly find a couple in the same position and maybe to a swap or threesome kind of thing. Slowly, I started to feel more and more uncomfortable with this idea, but she seemed so happy. My thought process was, just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's bad, and I continued to play along. We set ground rules where she was only allowed to do stuff with other females, but the more we talked, it kind of turned into no intercourse with other men. We were talking/flirting with another couple, but it became pretty clear that no one really was interested in me, really, and mainly her. She started talking to this one guy and asked if she could flirt/sext, possibly. This made me incredibly uncomfortable, but I went along with it for some reason. She just seemed so happy and excited, and I didn't want to take that away. They sexted, and I even read over all of it. None of it felt good. I felt like a loser. Even in the messages, she called me a free babysitter. Why am I still going along with this? What is wrong with me? Who knows, but I still played along. It was at this point she started to visually see me becoming emotionally distressed, uncomfortable with the situation, but I couldn't tell her no. She asked if she could go out for drinks tonight with this guy downtown, and I said no at first, but then said yes. I don't know what persuaded me. She told me that she really didn't want to do anything sexual at all, and it was just to go out to have fun. This guy's apartment was above a bar, the Met Up, and she drank a lot of alcohol. I was texted her while she was with him, and she stopped responding for almost 2 hours. Something hit me, and I could not stop crying. I wanted all of this to end. I made a terrible decision, letting any of this happen. I even texted her that I felt alone, and I couldn't stop crying, and I wanted her to come back home. Still, no response. Another 30 minutes goes by, and she said she is sorry and on her way home. She messaged me saying that this was way too much, and I didn't talk to her until she got home. She made it back and came into our room where I was crying, and I immediately hugged her, and she was silent. I lay down on the bed, and she started telling me that she went further than expected, and I asked how far, and she replied with, "Neither of us came." I delved deeper, knowing I was not going to like what she is about to say, but she told me they made out. He ate her out, and they briefly had intercourse with no protection, and she stopped it. We had a long argument over this. Now, she didn't say a single word, really. It was pretty much just me crying and letting out my feelings uncontrollably. A few days later, we talked about it again. And she told me she didn't like any of it and felt like she was taken advantage of. She told me that the guy got on top of her after eating her out and just put it in. And she kept pushing him out, saying things like, "Me and my fiancé agreed that we wouldn't have intercourse. This is off limits." It only lasted a couple seconds, and she left right after that happened. From what I understand, it sounded like she got drunk or word, and all I can do is take her word for it. I am here for her, and we are still together. We talked about this a lot over the last couple months, and I feel like things are getting better and back to normal. Well, recently, she brought up having an open relationship. She told me she really wants to experiment with other women. I feel as if we have a lot of work to do in our relationship, and I am not grown enough emotionally to handle that type of relationship. I told her I do not want an open relationship. She told me that she felt like she is getting controlled, which made me feel bad. I immediately responded with, "I cannot tell you what you can or can't do. I can, however, tell you how I feel and what I want or don't want." She asked me if it was a deal breaker for our relationship, and I didn't respond. She ended it with, "I don't want to talk about this anymore," even though she was the one to bring it up. I feel awful, toxic for doing this, but I snooped in her phone a couple times, looking at mainly her Snapchats. She posts some cute, hot pictures sometimes on her story, nothing nude, just her being gorgeous. She always gets messages on there from guys saying she is sexy, etc. There was nothing ever to indicate that she was entertaining anyone, and I have found her telling people she is taken and not interested in anyone. Recently, I looked the other day, and I found that she was on a best friend streak with a guy, and none of the recent convos were saved. I can see the old convos of her basically saying thanks every time the guy comments, hot or cute, on her previous Snap stories. It honestly concerns me that something is going on, because in order to have a best friend streak, she needs to be sending pictures. Why would she be sending pictures to this guy? I have not brought this up to her yet, and the combination of wanting an open relationship despite what happened in the past is making me feel like something is up. Am I crazy? I honestly am not exactly sure why I am posting this here or what I am expecting. I just have no one to talk to and needed to say something. Thank you all for reading. Let's see the comments. Holy crap, this sounds awful. OP, it was quite a bit, so I may have missed details, but she's been physically abusive multiple times and says it was programmed into her. You did not want her to mess around, and she went out saying she didn't plan on anything sexual happening. She then full on has unprotected sex while ignoring you. While you were incredibly sensitive about this, she called you free babysitter to the other guy. She started this open relationship stuff once you were locked in with a proposal and child. You've given up all your friends and hobbies for her. She's known to sext other guys and insult you, and has a super long Snapchat streak that she deletes with a guy you really need to get out. She is not good news at all, and up until the breaking point, her literally cheating on you, for you to realize you aren't happy, and she's extremely manipulative. You tell her you aren't ready for an open relationship, after she's already shown she doesn't care about your boundaries and will blow past them. And then she calls you controlling. It sounds like she knows what she wants, and what she wants isn't a committed, monogamous relationship with you. Let's check out another story. Me, 28 male. Fiancée, 27 female. Just asked for an open relationship after 3.5 years together. I do not think I want one, but she said, the worst thing I could say is no. Now I am stuck with an ultimatum. I'm using a throwaway account. I'm not really sure what to do, Reddit. Like the title says, my fiance brought up the idea of entering into an open relationship today after being together for 3.5 years, 3 dating, 0.5 engaged, and I feel pretty blindsided. There may be another person, 20 SM, involved. Up until now, we have had a completely monogamous relationship in terms of sex. Today, she texted me asking if I've ever considered an open relationship. I told her that I had thought about it only as a thought exercise, but never actually considered it before. She then told me she had been thinking about it seriously a lot lately and that we should go to couples therapy to talk about it. She said that 80% of monogamous relationships involve infidelity. So maybe we should just have an open relationship to be proactive. I said that sounds like giving each other permission to cheat because it was bound to happen anyway, and she agreed in a nutshell. She basically said that this was something she doesn't think she can live without and be happy in a relationship with me. This feels like an ultimatum where I can let her sleep with other people or we can split up. In response to this, I asked a lot of questions. I asked what part of our relationship was lacking, what brought this up now, etc. Then I remembered that she had recently met a friend at a bar and had gotten dinner with him. I only found this out later because they were texting a lot, and I asked her who it was and explained that going to dinner with a guy without telling me was a big no-no. She agreed and said it wasn't a date and that she was just excited about a new friendship. I brushed it off and forgot about it until now. I asked her directly today if she was brining up the idea of an open relationship because she developed feelings with this person, and she said yes. I feel totally violated. I was open to the idea of therapy and discussing why she thinks she needs an open relationship and making personal changes to fulfill more of what she needs, but this feels completely unfair. First of all, I feel like this should have all been brought up before we were engaged. She knew when I was going to do it, but maybe that's beside the point. I think my biggest problem with all of this is that she has developed feelings for someone else, and it has progressed to the point where she wants my permission to sleep with him. We basically finished conversation today totally pissed off at each other. What should I do here, Reddit? I am having a hard time gauging what a reasonable reaction here would be. I am extremely committed to this relationship and want to preserve it. I might not be thinking clearly, but all of this open relationship talk sounds like an excuse to let her sleep with other people and feel okay about it. Can you please help me? I'm happy to hear any advice you have. I'm at a loss. Edit 1. I've gone through and read all of the comments on here, but can't possibly reply to everyone. What I can say is thank you to everyone for your perspective. I don't know what I would have done without all of your comments. I have a lot to think about. To sum everything up, my fiance asked if I would be in an open relationship. I was open to at least thinking about it until I found out she's been on a date with someone else that has led to her asking for the open arrangement. Now I feel like my trust has been violated. What should I do/consider here? Let's see comments. Do not marry her. Also, that 80% thing is a complete lie. She sounds like a crappy person, or at least she's being one right now. She basically just told you that she's going to cheat on you whether you know it or not. Even if you don't agree to an open relationship, I really do feel like she's going to continue with that guy. She's going to do what she wants. This is definitely not about wanting or needing an open relationship. It's about wanting to sleep with that one specific guy. Was in a similar situation, except I was your fiance's friend in this situation. Met a dude, got along great, knew he was in a relationship, but the entire time he insisted his girlfriend knew about me. They were in an open relationship, etc. Plot twist. She didn't know until way after. We had a girl-to-girl talk. Came out he had in fact asked for an open relationship, but she said no and thought that was the end. Pretty crappy feeling. Personally, I wouldn't agree to this if I was you. You aren't comfortable with it. You have a valid worry that she's only opening it for him, which she probably is. And she seems like she's going to do it anyways. Might be time to cut your losses.